Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Online Teaching Show. My name is Tim Gascoigne, and I'm so thrilled to have you watching live. I want to welcome you to say hello in the chat. Let everyone know where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to chat with other online teachers and to make new friends as well. And if you're watching the replay, welcome, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. And if you've got any questions about anything that we chat about today. So today is Monday. I usually do these shows at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I love to have online teachers on that have a story or just want to share about their journey with building their online teaching business, whether you're with companies or teaching independently or doing other things. I think the direction that a lot of online teachers are taking are towards building up that online teaching income, but also looking at other online income streams as well. So that's what we're going to do on the show today, is talk a little bit about that. I want to remind you that if you do want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me. My email address is below, and send me an email and we can arrange a time to chat and to have you on sometime. So just wanted to extend that invitation to any of you. Also want to remind you that my live webinar is happening. Lots of times to choose from. It's called the 3 Secrets to Launching and Growing Your Online ESL Teaching Business. And it's a free training. I go over a lot of aspects to getting started if you're with a company and wanting to transition out of that, or if you are, just wanting to grow your online teaching business. There's lots of great takeaways in this training for you if you would like to learn a little bit and get some great takeaways. And of course, please do join the Going Solo Independent Teaching Facebook group, where we talk a lot about, just the sort of conversations around getting started. And as well, my goal in there is to build community and for folks to get to know each other. So you can search Going Solo Independent Teaching on Facebook. The links to both of these things are down below in the description box as well, in case you have a hard time finding it. So with that, I want to welcome my guest, Kathy Ortiz, who is an online teacher, teacherpreneur, doing lots of great things. And so we're going to hear her story. Welcome, Kathy.
Hi, Tim. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming on. Where do you live? Tell us a little bit about yourself and whatever you want to share.
I'm in the very tip of California, Northern California, what we like to call the true north. I'm about 6 hours north of San Francisco. So when people say San Francisco's Northern California, no, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's more central.
You're further north.
I live in the Redwoods on the coast. I'm on the coast.
Okay. And I know it's early for you. It's 7 a.m., right?
7 a.m., so. Yes. But you're worth it. I've enrolled in all your stuff, so I thought this opportunity was great. I do have a question about this, since you were talking about it. Is the 3 Secrets thing you're talking about first the same as your other courses that I've already enrolled in, or is it different?
Yeah, so this is a webinar that it's a 60-minute webinar, just free. And through the webinar, I introduce folks to the Launch Going Solo course. So this is just like a free training that I put together a year ago, and I was using it to launch the course through a live format. But now it's something that people can, there's a couple times each day that people can go on and watch and then learn about the course as well if they want to, but also just get some takeaways from the webinar. So yeah,
so if I'm already in the course, I probably don't want it because it's the same material then, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of a question. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Good question. So
go ahead.
No worries. I wanted to ask you about your online teaching journey. Tell us what you have done in terms of online teaching.
I started online teaching as a virtual assistant, but previous to that, I was a virtual assistant online. And then I kind of decided to explore the online teaching venue and got in on the VIPKid. And I came in, I guess it was 2018. I was actually, after we emailed back and forth, I looked it up to see when, and my VIPKid account is still active. And it said I joined in either 2017 or 2018. So I guess I was doing it for quite a while, even pre-COVID. So it was, booming then. It was big and there was lots happening. And then I got into working locally here for a little bit. I did VIPKid and Magic Years a little bit side by side, but because I'm on the Pacific Coast, as we just established, and the time difference between Pacific Coast and the Asia world is about 15 hours. And so that puts me having to teach and get up around 2 or 3 a.m. And after about a year of doing that, I decided that's enough of this. I can't
Yeah.
do it anymore.
I know you Pacific Coast teachers had a really rough go at that. And I think it was exciting in the beginning for many, but I heard so many teachers, that was really one of the main reasons why it was just hard. It wasn't sustainable. It was really difficult. It cuts into your personal time, crazy sleep hours. And it's
Yep.
kind of like doing a graveyard shift with, overnight stuff, because you have to wake up so early and go to bed so early. So
yeah, I was going to bed around 7 or 8 o'clock at night while my kids and my husband were sitting here in the living room. It's like, man, this sucks. And I was getting up, and I'm done by 6 a.m. So then it's like, well, now I'm up. Now what? So I had the rest of the day to do whatever I needed to do. It was tough. It was tough. And I'm, not young anymore. I'm not 20 something. So I was like, I've been there, done that when I had my kids. I can't do this in my 40s. No, thank you. So I quit. And then I went to working somewhere outside the house locally with a physical job with behavioral health, which was really important to me because I always thought as a high school student that I would do something with special ed. And so that was really fun. But then in the middle of that job, COVID hit. So as everybody knows, I know everybody keeps saying this in all the videos I watch, we all retreated home. So I'm like, well, okay, now what? Because that was a physical job. And now I have to figure out, well, at the time I was still homeschooling. One of my children was still at home. He was in his last few years of high school, and he really was into computer coding and computer software. And he thought that he wanted to take some classes online. So I started searching online to find some courses for him to take, and found Outschool. And there's professors on there that actually teach these types of courses that he wanted from college. And I thought, that's awesome. So I started getting him into those courses. And as COVID hit and things kind of, emerged from that, I thought, well, you know what? Why not try Outschool? It'll be within my hours there in San Francisco. It's not going to be 3 a.m. Let's give it a shot. So I did. I applied. I got in March or April of 2020, which was the biggest boom part of it, as you know, and everybody else knows. So it was going nuts. And I thought, well, what am I going to teach? Because I'm not a certified teacher, but I do have a bachelor's and master's degree. And I'm a homeschool mom, a veteran homeschool mom. As I just said, I've graduated all 3 of my kids. So I took all the books that are behind me that I used with my own children and turned them into online classes. Threw them up on Outschool. Things like spelling lists, how to tell time on an analog clock, vocabulary lists, writing cursive, things that kind of seem like they're a dying art and seem so simple. It was a hit. I mean, I was fully booked and I couldn't make enough classes. It was insane. It was crazy booked. And I was making a good amount of money per month. I was excited. But then after a year and a half, schools start opening, things start going back to normal. And it's, as everybody else that I've heard you and other people that's been on here, just slowly declined little by little. And I'm still teaching on Outschool, but and I love it, but it's not what it was at all.
Yeah. Do you think that Outschool kind of trend? A lot of teachers did this. They worked with companies like VIPKid, and then Outschool was such a hot topic and everyone was excited about it. And like you said, you could literally just pick a book off the shelf and create spelling lists or create things to use in your classroom. Do you think that doing something like moving from VIPKid to Outschool kind of like taught you new skills and ways of maybe you could do things on your own? Like, talk about that a little bit. I'd love to know.
Yeah, definitely. Because when I first applied to VIPKid, I was really nervous because I've never taught in a classroom, which is probably a good thing because I'm kind of a rule breaker, and I probably would have been the teacher that was told I had to leave. But VIPKid had all that prep for you. They had all the lessons ready for you. They made it easy. So it wasn't like I had to do a whole lot, but just show up and be energetic and be happy to do it. So yeah, I definitely would say that helped prepare me, because Outschool, you have to do a little bit more. You have to come prepared with lessons. You have to be ready. And VIPKid, you just had to show up and do what was on the screen,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
exactly. Easy. Definitely prepared me, I would say. Yeah.
And so because I never got on with Outschool, what is the situation like now, in your opinion, as still an Outschool teacher, but not doing as much teaching with them? What's it like now? What's the sort of landscape? Is it something that people can still apply to? Is it still popular? What's popular? Like how to be successful? I don't know. What's your thoughts on the state of OutSchool now?
Yeah, I think it is still popular, but I think it's probably a little harder to get in. I mean, it's been what, 3 years since I applied, so it's been a while. I've heard that the application process is a little bit harder. They're a little bit more strict with it, which makes sense because they've got, a bunch of teachers. The classes, I think the most popular, excuse me, is still ongoing. They have multi-day, they have flex classes, and they have one-to-one. But
Hmm.
OutSchool is emerging and changing with the times as well. So lately, their newest thing is trying to up the one-to-one because that seems to be most popular. Tutoring sessions, just one-on-one with a student, kind of like VIPKid, because that seems to be what parents are booking the most. But I think second to that would be ongoing, which is basically like a subscription, kind of like your course. You pay a monthly fee, is whatever that class is listed as, and you go to class every week, and it doesn't ever end, which seems
Right.
to be the most popular as well. I've kind of
Okay.
touched my toe in a little bit of all of those. Right
Right.
now, what seems to be booking the most is actually the flex classes and one-to-ones, which flex is kind of like independent, kind of like your course. You
Okay.
create lessons, you create worksheets, you create a video, you load it all in the classroom, and students watch it on their own time. There's actually no live sessions. That seems to
Right.
be second to the one-on-one tutoring sessions. So,
Right. So those are sort of like little mini courses that you could make and
yeah.
pre-recorded, and then it's
Yep.
self-paced for the student. Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yep. Exactly. But there are limits on how long they can access it for. You do set start and end dates. So they
Uh-huh.
have to access the course materials within those time frames because there is an end date. It's not like they pay the subscription forever. At least that's the way
Okay.
it has it set now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Cool. So, you also have done other things. So I'm interested in
Yeah.
like, did this like online stuff kind of spur your
Yeah,
creative
definitely.
entrepreneurial mind into other things? Like, what else have you done? You said you started with VA work. And then
Yeah.
we talked before, and you're kind of thinking about independent teaching a little bit, and you've done TPT as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I kind of happened upon you on YouTube, so I started taking some of your courses, watching your videos, and I thought, well, okay, I can do this. But as of this point, I have no private students. But I would love to do that and kind of merge out of the OutSchool because the 30% that they take is a big chunk. And I didn't say that. They do take kind of like VIPKid paid you a very small amount. OutSchool takes 30% of the cut. Now, I like that because I don't have to worry about the money. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. If parents have financial questions, I say, you have to talk to OutSchool support. They take care of it for me, which is a nice relief and a nice thing off your plate that you don't have to do. But with the amount of students I have now, it's not easily feasible. So
Right.
it'd be nice to get some private students. But in that, I've got it all set up on my website, so I'm set there. I just need to get the students now. But the other part of it is I looked into TPT, Teachers Pay Teachers, for those of you that don't know what that is. And I've actually been on Teachers Pay Teachers for probably a good 10 to 15 years because as a
Oh,
homeschool mom, it was a great resource. I'll
yeah.
just go to TPT and look up a worksheet on fractions for, blah, 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 whatever. It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
So I knew about TPT. I just never did the seller part of it. I was always one of the parents that purchased things on there for
Yeah.
my kids when I was homeschooling them. So it would be great to do that. So I do have a store up there and I have some things up there and I'm slowly trying to put more and more stuff in there because now I have all these lessons from teaching on OutSchool. Thought, why not put them to good use? So that's kind of why I'm on there. And that's a
Uh,
slow progress. You can't get them all. I've learned a lot about that as well from different YouTube videos. And you can't get them all ready instantly. I can't just drop them on there. There's certain things you need to do to make them sellable and if you're going
yeah.
to make any money off of it. So I'm in the process of doing that. And then I
Yeah.
thought, well, because I was a virtual assistant and I actually like creating curriculum, I like Excel sheets, I like doing graphics, I like editing video, I like that kind of stuff. I like doing it, I actually enjoy it. I love Canva. I've gotten into graphics again, and I thought it would be awesome to be able to do that for some teachers. And I see constantly on the Facebook groups and on YouTube teachers saying they are overwhelmed, overworked and they can't keep up, and or they don't know how to do the graphics, the Excel sheets, the websites, the curriculum. They just, all of it, they just can't. And so I thought, you know what? This is where the niche is. This is where people need help. If I can get online teachers to hire me to help them with their business, I figured that'll probably put my income back up where I want it,
That's
because
great.
they don't have to train me. I've also seen online teachers say they're afraid to hire VAs from overseas, kind of like in your neck of the world, because they have to teach them what online teaching is, or about these platforms that they teach on. I don't have to be taught that. I've been there, I've done that. I've experienced it as a teacher. So it's not something that's new to me that I'll have to have explained to me.
Great.
So
Yeah, I want to get more into like what you're thinking and what you are offering to online teachers. But what I wanted to just go back to is the idea of, you had these lessons, like you were creating them. And I know many teachers that watch my channel are also creating lessons. A lot of teachers also subscribe to pre-made curriculum and buy resources and things like that. But I think there's just such an opportunity when you can think about how to leverage the internet and how to leverage these platforms like TPT or your website or just social media to sell things. I mean, that's what I have been doing and still do with courses and things like that through my YouTube channel. But, I think it's great that you had that entrepreneurial spirit to think about, okay, I've got these lessons, like let's put them somewhere. And then you can work on your TPT store and figure out the marketing and things like that. I know it's a lot of work, and but it can create that passive income, which is not always passive, but there's a lot of work behind it, but it can create some of that income where you get sales when it's all created. So I think that's really, really great. What kind of resources are you selling on TPT? By the way, I've linked your TPT on this video here. So if folks want to take a look, you can go see, even just as an example of another online teacher who's using that platform to sell things. So what kinds of stuff do you have there?
Mostly what I have in there right now is reading lessons. I've got some great short stories that I've typed up that have 5 comprehension questions and then an essay question after it. And
Okay.
I've set each of the individual stories on there and then bundled them according to grade level. I'm about most of the way through the first grade and working into the second grade. I've got a few other random things up there, but my plan is to put my spelling up there, put my vocabulary up there, and the handwriting as well. I may have already put the cursive handwriting up there because that's just like a 5-week course and it's already done pretty much. So it was easy to put that up. But yeah, that's my goal, is to get all that stuff up there. And then I've started watching videos, kind of taking your idea about turning it into something where I make all the money myself and getting it up on my website as well, and kind of taking Outschool's idea of flex classes and turning it into what you've done, like courses, but for kids, on my website as well. So that's like a long range goal at some point. But at this point, I'm still kind of overwhelmed with what I'm in the middle of doing, that I'm like, that's going to have to wait till down the road, just because I don't have time for that right now. But
yeah, well, I want to talk about that for a second. Time and organization, and like, how you've got a lot going on. Like, how do you manage your time? Like, what sort of tips could you give around that? Like, do you work on this, or, you talked about starting your VA business again, and TPT, and then your classes. So what does your day look like? I guess maybe that's a better question.
Google is my friend. That's the one that I use the most. I use Google Calendar and Google Tasks and Google the Notepad. Google. Why am I blanking on that?
I don't use that, but I think I've seen it in one of the
Google Keep.
Google Keep.
It's their version of a sticky notepad, Google Keep. But a friend of mine who I network with was into Trello, which I did a long time ago, but I haven't touched it in a while. So her and I have been kind of getting back into that. So I'm now kind of doing Trello to help keep myself on task with individual tasks, but then Google is like my main, everything goes in my calendar. That's like my brain. If I don't have it in there, it's not going to happen. From tasks to everyday stuff to my teaching stuff, that's how I keep track of my lessons for my students. Trello's been kind of handy for like my TPT store and putting in my list of all my different types of lessons that I have, and then slowly adding them one at a time. So
Okay.
do TPT, it's been kind of good to go side by side. So that's kind of what I use. Is I just fall back on the Google because I love it. It's easy, it's free, and I've been using
Yeah.
it forever. So it's like, why not
Great.
use what
Yeah.
works?
Why
Stick with
not?
what works.
So yeah, I think I used Trello for a while too. I've used Notion, and then I'm back on Asana again. It's just there's so
I've
many
done
different
Asana a little
strategies
too.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Someone's
Lori
asking, what am I
says,
doing with the
Kathy.
VA?
Yeah. So okay. So why would an online teacher, need a VA? Let's start with that.
Let's start with VA as virtual assistant for those that don't
Yeah.
know. A lot of people, because like for me especially, I thought it was like a veteran because that's what I'd heard it
I should have started with
referenced.
that question. Yeah, because I use the word as
But
that
I'm not a
acronym.
veteran. I've never been in the military. My husband is a veteran, but I am not. So I cannot
Okay.
take credit for that. I did not serve in the military in any capacity except as a spouse. So I guess if they actually give me credit for that, then that counts. But I was
Yeah.
never enlisted. VA is a virtual assistant, kind of like an administrative assistant. I like to say it's like a secretary, okay? Kind of like in a big office building, you think of the person that's at the desk right outside the office.
Right. Right.
You can do pretty much anything. It's very wide, it's very broad, from financials to graphic design to websites to email management to video editing to managing social media like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, anything and everything. And a lot of VAs will kind of hone in on their niche and decide what is best for them. For me, it's probably social media, a little bit of graphic design, but I wouldn't say that I'm like an expert. I'm more of an intermediate in there, but I'm working on it. I know the basics like Canva and Google Slides, and I like I said, I love Google. I'm into all the Google Slides, Docs. Uh, uh, what's the other ones?
Google
Excel, the
Slides, Google
sheets.
Sheets,
Yeah,
Google. Yeah,
I'm into
Google.
all of those. So I use those, but I do use the Microsoft version of them too, so I am pretty familiar with that. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what they do, and that's what I do.
Okay.
So hours of the
Oh,
day people are asking, well, for me it's 9 to 5, but that's Pacific time. But
yeah.
being a VA, a lot of it's virtual, so you can do the email back and forth and do setup times. It might be kind of hard sometimes, but I've done it with people on the East Coast. I'm doing it with you now. It can be
Yeah.
done. It's just not all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's 9:30 p.m. almost here for me, and because I work with so much in the time zone of North America that I have to do things in the evening sometimes. So it's just, but you also have to have boundaries and decide
yeah.
when work stops and what you're willing to do and things like that as well.
Which I do
And
work in the evenings. I just don't usually meet with people in the evenings. It's just usually the
right.
behind the scenes type of stuff that I do.
Yeah, right, right, right. Now, you did work as a VA before online teaching. What kind of VA work were you doing?
Same kind of stuff, but I worked for a publisher in San Francisco. I worked with a couple of individual VA businesses on the East Coast, which was
Okay.
sometimes a juggle with the time difference. But it was fun and it was good experience. And there was a couple other just individuals locally that kind of had their own business that I helped them get a website up and going and things like that, create a logo for them, stuff like that,
Right.
which was fun and it was good experience. And I loved it because most of it isn't working. You're working with the client, but you're not working with the client. It's more of getting to know them and what they want, and then you go and do it. And I can do it on
Yeah.
my own time. Yes, there's a time frame that I have to complete it by that we're agreed upon between myself and the client, but I can do it in the evening. I can do it in the middle of the day. I can do it in the early morning. It doesn't matter when I do it. It's just a matter of, and it's a little more flexible. So my goal is not that I don't love teaching. It would be nice to go back to completely passive because I
Sure.
actually just became a grandparent. My first grandchild was
Congrats.
born on July 4th. So
Wow.
my husband and I, even though he does work full time as well, want to travel more to be able to see the baby because they live in Arizona.
Okay.
So having that behind the scenes passive can be more flexible income would be nice to be able to take with me and do versus
Yeah.
teaching. Yes, I can take it with me, but I have my setup all right here and I don't really want to have to try to make it mobile. I like
Right.
it the way it is, right? I
Yeah.
like the setup that I've done in my home. So yeah.
And, as I always say, if you're just teaching students one to one, then you're just trading time for money. And, there is opportunity out there as you've experienced and are wanting to build up more to do other things.
I see some more questions. The next one is,
yeah, how did you get started?
How did I get started? Well, I started doing school online. That's how I got my degrees. And so I just went to, well, now I got to earn income to pay off the student loans, which I'm still not
I
really
think she's
paying off
talking
yet.
about VA, maybe
Yeah,
getting
that's
started.
how I
Yeah,
got
okay.
started. I got my online degrees, and then when I
Okay.
finished them, I was like, how am I going to figure out how to do this? And at the time that I had done that, pre 2017, my children were still at home, and I was still heavily homeschooling all three of them. So I had to figure out something to do from home. And that's when I found what a VA was. I just looked online and, all right, I can do that. And that's kind of how I got into it, because I needed to work from home at that point, because I couldn't go back to work because my kids were still home. So, and I wasn't willing to give up that part of it. I wasn't putting them in school. That was something we
Right.
already predetermined we were going to do with our kids. So that's how I got started. Yes, I do
Cool.
my own prices, Mary. It varies. Some will go as low as $5, $7, depending on the job, up to $60, $70 an hour. It's a huge range. It's kind of like online teaching. A big variable. Depends on the job, what you're doing, and how much time it's going to take.
Yeah. And I think the clients that would be paying, $50+ an hour are clients or teachers that have big businesses that are, but I also just wanted to talk about pricing, because I think something that I struggled with when I was thinking about it, I don't have a VA, but when I was thinking about it, it's a mindset thing as well around it's sort of like, if you see it as not necessarily as an expense, but as a vehicle really to increase your income, because you're taking tasks away from you that you don't like to do, that you're not good at doing, that you loathe doing. It's like thinking, when you're kind of getting into this, I think it's a good idea to think about, what are your strong skills? What are the skills that you don't mind doing? And what are those skills that you just hate doing? And that if you could do them, they would increase your income, or, help you to get further along that journey of where you want to be. And a VA can help you do that. And it's, hiring someone like you could help someone to get into a new whatever, a new opportunity,
Yeah.
or to just grow their student base, for example. Like, if a VA was going to help you to create social media posts to attract more students, well, 15, 20, 25, $30 an hour is worth it, because you're now getting a long-term contract with new students, or maybe it's
Exactly.
whatever.
And I think it also depends on what you're doing, honestly. Creating social media posts, or just posting and scheduling things for you on your social media, doesn't take a lot of time. But if it's creating a website where the question is about having contracts, that would be a little more
Yeah.
intense and a little more time consuming, and can be definitely like a decided upon price. I will design your website for set amount of price instead of by hour, because it'll take me this long. And as a VA, I can calculate how long does that take me to do that from start to finish, and kind of make it a lump sum instead of an hourly. I'm going to charge you every hour that I do this. So contracts
Yeah.
are definitely something that can be done, and I don't think there's one that's better than charging hourly. I think it really honestly depends upon the task. It really
Right.
does.
And
It's
so,
flexible.
there's maybe people here that are, or going to watch this, that I know a lot of online teachers are interested in becoming VAs as well. And then there's that group of people. And then there might be people that are interested in hiring a VA. So, if you've got questions, if you watch the replay of this and you've got questions about VA work, put them in the comments below, and I'll send them over to Kathy. And, if
Yeah,
you want to reach
definitely.
out to Kathy, I've got your, what is your website, Kathy? I'll just plug that and tell folks they can also link below to.
teacherkathyortiz.com or Cats the VA. I've actually got two now. I'll type them in there.
Okay, wonderful. And how can folks get in touch with you if they're interested in maybe talking about how you could help them in their teaching businesses?
My website's there is a great way, but also I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I do email. So you pretty much anyway, all of those links are on my website. Tim's linked them below. I do just want to quickly go back to the VA, because a lot of people are asking questions about it. And I think that it is also just something people need to keep in mind is a saturated market, kind of like online teaching's been. Being a virtual assistant's been around for a while, so there is a lot of other people out there that are doing it. So it's not something that's going to it's new, and like kind of like online teaching was when it first started, where you're going to get all these clientele. You have to kind of work for it. You got to build it up, kind of like what you say in your courses when you're building up those online students. And you got to kind of just start here, little bits at a time. And then when I first started, it was only 1 or 2 clients, and it just kind of built from there slowly. A lot of it's referral as well. You get referred
and I
from
think
one
what you're,
another.
niching down, right? Just like with teaching, if you're saying, I'm going to, I'm going to work with online teachers. I mean, that's getting really specific, and then hone in on exactly what you can help online teachers with. Where are your skills the strongest? I think is what will help
and a
you as
lot of
well.
VAs do that. I just do social media, or I just do graphic design, or I just do website design, whatever, any of that, So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I often am on Facebook more than I am on Instagram, honestly, ironically, but I have both. I'm trying to get better about checking my messages on Instagram, but if all else fails, email works great too. And that's on my website. You can just easily find all that info listed right there. What I did is I created Cats the VA, and then I closed it down when I stopped being a VA. And then I created teacherkathy.com. Teacher Kathy Ortiz is my name, basically, .com. And then I thought, well, I'm going to put the VA back in there. So I just kind of merged them. So I purchased the URL that was still available, ironically, that I had before, and just put them together, basically. So they just all go to the same page. I just have different pages for each thing. So.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah, that's a smart way of doing it. Cool. Well, that's awesome. Did we cover everything? I just want to see. Thanks. Alana
I think
says,
so.
Thank you so much, Alana. Thanks. I thought a lot about VA work, but I never thought about trying it, tying it into online teaching work. You've given me some food for thought. Very, very cool.
You're welcome.
Great.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and if I can help anybody, definitely reach out, because a lot of it's like online teaching. You got to at least just have a conversation, and I have it on my website. We'll have a free session. We'll talk for half an hour, 45 minutes, see what you need, go over what I can offer. And if I can't, I'll find somebody who can. I'll refer you. That's the other great thing, is kind of like online teaching, as virtual assistants tend to want to just refer to one another. I don't really do that, but so-and-so does, and like I have a friend who's a math teacher, and I'm more along the language arts teaching. Well, she does really great with the math, and we've done back and forth all the time. Nope, you want a math teacher, go to her. And then she does the same thing. You want a language arts teacher, go to her, because I'm not a math person,
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, that's great. Recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's great. I've had students come along that it's not someone that I want to teach, but I can easily find someone that that would like to teach it. So.
It's that networking and supporting each other instead of trying to make it a whole competition.
Absolutely.
Supporting each other, networking, and I think there's enough for everybody. And now with all these online teachers, I think there's more than enough online teachers that need a VA. I really do.
Yes, definitely. And it just might be something that they never thought of. So thank you for, just sharing about that, because I think it's a topic I haven't talked about on here at all, really. So hopefully folks, if you're looking to become one, or if you're thinking of hiring someone like Kathy, that it gives you some ideas. So thank you, Kathy. This was great. What do you have on for the rest of the day?
I've got classes actually back to back. So today's one of my busy days. It's kind of like 2 or 3 days are empty. Yeah, 2 or 3 days are empty, and then 2 or 3 days are booked. And for some reason today, 9 to 5, I've got classes. So.
Oh wow. Okay. So
that's what I'm doing, is I'm teaching today. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on this channel and chatting about this stuff.
Thank you so much for all you do. I just want to push Tim a little bit, because I think your courses are awesome. I learned so much from you. And if you haven't yet, you guys have got to go check it out, because it was hugely helpful.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you giving us all that info and teaching us as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. You can go to, there's links below if you would like to, check out what I offer. I've got a few courses up there for online teachers, and reach out if you have any questions. So thank you, Kathy. A pleasure. I know we'll stay in touch, and I can't wait to see how this goes for your VA work. So all the best. So much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Great. So thanks everybody for hanging in there till the end. I really enjoyed that chat with Kathy, and I think, it's fun to just hear other people's stories. And, many of us went through the companies like VIPKid, and many of you may be still working with companies, but have been wanting or just thinking about how to, maybe build up some other income streams. And I know that if you just make that decision to pursue whatever dream or goal you have, you certainly can make it a reality if you just start taking steps towards that, even when it's super scary, because it is when we step out of our comfort zone and do things online that are, not what we're comfortable with. But remember that you did that when you got into online teaching, and it was scary and it was unknown and you had to learn all these new things. It's the same thing when you move into something else. So don't be afraid to try new things, to learn new things, and to grow, because there's so much opportunity out there when we leverage the large world of the internet. Great. Okay, so again, reach out if you've got any, if you would like to come on the channel one Monday, and I look forward to having you on if you are interested. Thanks again for watching. Shoot me an email if you've got any questions, and hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week. Happy Monday, and we'll see you next week for another interview. Take care, everyone.